Hi guys, Michelle Ochoa here with Divinely Genuine, here to talk some astrology for this very interesting new moon in Aries. So Aries is the start of the new astrological year, right? And it's the first zodiac sign. It's cardinal fire. I like to think of it as the match in astrology. And it's like the self, right? It's the warrior who is inspired and a great leader, but it is us choosing ourselves. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this new moon that's exact at 7 p.m. tonight, West Coast time. Um, and one aspect that I see with this new moon, and I'm looking down just at the little chart, look at this party we have going on in Aries right now. Look at all that action. I know some people are like, what the hell am I looking at? All these are, planets and asteroids. And so we've got not only the sun and moon in Aries making that dark new moon, but we have Ceres, the asteroid. We have Mercury. We have Chiron. Venus is there past the sun, just 4 degrees, so technically still in conjunction. Eris is in the middle of them. Pardon me, sorry. And that's an asteroid as well. That's, I believe, causes discord, is what I remember from La Liokin. And people over at High Vibe. So what I find interesting is I just pulled this up because I'm learning to plan better in life. But I do like to run on the fly like that because it is like a channeled thing. So what I like for this new moon is the ruler of the new moon in Aries, which would be Mars, which we have definitely past the nodes in the third decan at 23 degrees. I love that Mars is trining over to Jupiter, which is our planet of luck. So we've got Mars and Gemini taking action towards these beautiful twin like energies, connecting to our tribes, connecting to who feels like home, definitely connecting to sacred, divine, twin flame. I really don't like the twin flame like label, but whatever. I really don't, because there's these false ones we've had come in, and it's this runner chaser thing, and I guess there's all these truths to it, and it brings you to self love and unconditional love, but it just loses its sacredness to me, But I get weird about things, and so we're in this time where we have these beautiful, beautiful, amazing, sacred divine unions taking place. And the inner world is an amazing experience. Amazing experience. Consciousness is interesting as well. So as we choose ourselves on this full moon, know that these partnerships, you're choosing yourself to love yourself better on this path, to raise your frequency, to step into our light more, right? And to look at the patterns and like for myself, like the intuition is on point. I love that as I pulled up this chart, I was just like, I'm feeling 7 o'clock, and it was 22 degrees exact. I was like, yay, intuition, intuition. Because that's led me so far, and the soul knows. And then, you have your teachers and your helpers and divine love meeting you to a certain extent, and the divine as well. And but then it's for me like the consciousness and the regular work of mindfulness and maybe doing some affirmations, which on one degree, when you're already like third eye's open and your heart's open and you're connected, seems like kids play, child's play, but it's not, because consciousness is the whole fucking like awakening process. And it can happen though when we've had crazy things happen with, you know, family and the justice system or anything truly like impactful. We can start to, and people do it all the time, but that's just my situation. You know, we can start to deny and not be as conscious as we could be or should be. Oh, cute little birdie. Because maybe reality is just too uncomfortable, right? And we don't want to look at it, which leads to like so much craziness. Like we could neglect our dental health, or, you know, with all these false ideas that we are not worthy of the abundance, or that we have to spend the money here, or whatever it is. It's a lot of stuff that these times are uncovering the abundance of love and amazing wonder that really does connect us on a heart and soul level. It's very beautiful. But so as you choose yourself, kind of look at your path, you know, and like, okay, what can I do better in? And, you know, here's like a journal of gratitude to start. Like, I'm not really good with like routine and things like that. Like, I can be in my like routine that's not beneficial. And so just doing those little mindfulness practices that, you know, I was introduced to a long time ago but haven't actually kept going or whatever, for manifesting and for just focusing the mind. And so I'd like to make that part of this special new moon in Aries video. But going back to the astrology, the medicine of astrology, 23 degrees Mars is trining Jupiter, our lucky planet. So the ruler of this new moon that has us, that's our sexual drive, that's our passion, that's our inspiration, our ambition, our go, right? Our cardinal fire that starts the inspiration, is trining Jupiter, which is expanding this Aquarius vibe, which is independent and figuring out the problems for humanity, for as a human, as for all the humanitarian, sorry, but independently so. And that's where it is truly just a self journey, though we're affecting like deeply connected relationships and clearing karmic relationships, and hopefully like, you know, these really divine sacred unions have past lives to them, I feel, where they've and seen where they've worked up to this life. And it's like, well, you know, that's so amazing to be able to clear so much of the karma, but don't stop, don't doubt, keep the faith and know, you know. And it's crazy because when we get into this like when we get out of the surrender mode that the moon brings and we get into the sun mode of co-creating and choosing, it's like I feel like we can it's just a fucking totally different vibe, you know. And I feel like it's interesting when we're all choosing, but where's that beautiful fatedness that we can relax and calm down and try to integrate everything and know that, you know, I like to rely on the knowing that what is meant to be will be, without all this like trying and pushing. But there's so many aspects to co-creating with God, with the light, with the divine, for what we want, and then receiving it, and it can drive you like crazy. And so just going back to like, knowing that these divine connections are connected in so many levels, on so many levels, and so many. And this is where time doesn't even exist, but just reaffirming the soul that you are, and trying to do work where you're remembering and you're connected to whatever can bring that, you know. It is interesting for sure. This heart stuff, the soul stuff. It's very interesting. So what's beautiful though is this Mars, the ruler of this new moon, is causing us to choose ourselves, which is also these divine unions because they are ourselves. You know, it's the balancing of the masculine and feminine inwardly and outwardly, you know. And I'm going to be myself a minute and do something because it's bothering the heck out of me. You know, I really can't wait till the day where I have someone do my hair and makeup. Like, I'm not trying to be all, like, famous. I just want someone to do it. I just want someone to do it. And so the Mars is trining the Mars in Gemini, going towards that stimulating, fun, playful twin-like energy. And there's no mistaking these. You know, we have all kind of people that we reflect with all day, but there's no mistaking these like divine unions. Like, your soul knows part of you may be avoiding or in denial. You know, Gemini is an interesting energy, the twins. It's very like on or off, you know, so it's like, ee. But it is light and it is playful. And, you know, knowing that cycles end and that you're more than just your job or your partnership or your parenting role. But that more important than any of though those are all beautiful aspects of us and are very important, is the soul, the spiritual embodiment that we came to do, you know, which is, if we think of the soul as love, like, it's all good, you know, and just keep connecting to that and to not get lost into these very intense and impactful soul connected unions. You know, don't lose yourself in it, but receive it and show up and just being you. You know, like, there's a lot we've had to process and go through, and each to their own path, you know. And so Mars, our sexual drive and our ambition to go towards these beautiful twin-like unions and family, is trining the blessing of Jupiter. And traditionally, I've heard many astrologers talk about Jupiter being having to do with marriage and having to do with, I think it's more the husband aspect, I believe, traditionally, but it brings gifts, you know, and it's expanding the energy it's in. So trining that Mars, it's like taking action towards those relationships or those partnerships, and that are very destined, right, with the nodes there. And it's very like local, right? It's very like local in your local environment. Locally, the divine masculine and feminine within you, right, as well. And however it's showing on your path. And I like that it is trining over to the 23 degrees Mars, trining to 25 degrees Jupiter, over to 25 degrees Pars Fortune in Libra, which highlights the relationship aspect of this new moon. So we're choosing ourself, and in the self, we find that other like half of us, the better half of us, right? The other half of us, you know. It's so interesting, these phrases. and that now we can come to this beautiful time in our lives where we can more understand what they're talking about. And so Pars Fortune is an asteroid that brings fortune and good luck. And so having it in Libra, the sign of relationships and beauty and balance, I feel brings a beautiful aspect and flow to this new moon. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but as someone who just wants to give you a little bit of what sticks out, I like that. There's plenty of, things going on to give you more. I do want to look at Pluto because I see it's making some positive things. It looks like Saturn is trining the node, so that's really cool. Very positive, karmic, structure being built, and where is that transformative Pluto that brings such depth and intensity? Where is Pluto? So we got Mercury. Now, Mercury is trining the south node, so we know where to go. We know and are learning our roles, and this is a time of light. We are out of the matrix more and more, right? And just practicing whatever we need to on our path. And knowing it's all okay, It's all okay, not to be pressured. So Pluto's not really doing much this new moon. It seems to be, let's see, it's got a square. Okay, Pluto is making a square to the asteroid Pars Fortune. So interesting that it came to mind like that, real gentle like. Which brings it just a little more like edge and restrictiveness and kind of having to push. But I kind of require those. If it's so easy, we don't sometimes recognize it. So that's kind of cool. The transformation to the balance of these relationships. And truly it is just like bringing it back to yourself and, being kind to what you gave others and whatever your path has looked like. And we can all learn to love ourselves more with this fucking society and what they've hidden from us. So I want to pick, let's see what we got. We got the teacup. So I've got a new deck. It's my only deck at the moment. It's the Literary, here I'll show you the box, Literary Witch's Oracle. And so we got the teacup, and I'm going to go ahead and say a little prayer. Divine Spirit, Source Energy, God and Fate of all whom carries the light and the force that connects us all, who we've signed up and agreed to show up at this time in our lives, to who gives us the beautiful ability to love and to move light, the beautiful divinity of it all. Spirit, I ask that you would help me to create with love and light, to stay in that heart space, to show up for my divine masculine, for my divine feminine, to balance the two, for my sacred, beautiful union, for my soul's calling. And I pray that all of us would, okay, there it is, and when it happens like that, it's like, I want to finish my prayer. I'm going to do a little more. And Spirit, I thank you for the ability to read this new oracle deck and to offer guidance as someone discovering her goddess energy more and more. Thank you, God, for the ability to help people with their relationships, to connect to others, and to love ourselves more, to love one of the most amazing men in the world, and to bring it all back. Bring it all back to you with love and light. Spirit, I ask that if you have any cards other than what's pulled out for us this new moon in Aries, April 2021. Thank you for it, Spirit. Okay. So, we've got the teacup. I'm going to cut these in a moment. Or here, I'll cut them now. If you guys want to see. Where is it? Where is it? Let me turn it a little. There we go. Here's what fell out. We're going to cut it 1 and 2. All right. Beautiful. Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and play. I need to charge my phone. I'm going to play a little 432 hertz. It's the frequency, so just go to YouTube or Spotify, 432 HZ. And it's a frequency of love and nature and all these things. And it's good to play to anything you're creating or mixing. If you're, you know, your food, your water, your everything, our bodies. And so I'm just going to have that in the background.
There's a huge government scandal going on that I need your help with.
You do? Government scandal? No. We've never heard of that before. All right, so let's begin. I'm not even going to flip them over. Let's go with what we have. And this is an interesting one that I just got, so I do refer to the book. And I wish you guys all the best with self-love and these being able to balance your divine masculine, feminine, and doing all the healing stuff and, you know, understanding your money and relationship situations right now, you know, and forgiving ourselves for not being prepared to receive such beautiful gifts and being stuck in maybe any shadow energy, you know, and just constantly reminding ourselves to show up for those who have loved us and that we love, and loving ourselves and not being afraid to be soft and gentle and take our time and, you know, utilize the guidance that we've been given. So teacup, the one that fell out first, is ease, rest. It's also the small mind. You know, if we take too much time, like easing into things is so beautiful right now because that's the energy that we have kind of in our society been stripped of, which is that softer receiving divine feminine energy. Like when working with the light within, you learn to ease into it. And, but also when we rest too much, that affects the third eye, actually. It affects the being able to see the bright colors of your chakras in your third eye. So it's important to tune into yourself and your being, right? And so I then understand why it says small mind as well, because if you're just like working and sleeping or doing any repetitive circles and then just like going to sleep at the same time and doing all this like sheepish or robotic behavior, your mind becomes smaller and smaller. You're not open to the possibility of the present moment, you know, or you're thinking that you know, you've left the divine out of it, which is why I truly do like love astrology so much, because, you know, though we may have like, though we do have all of this awareness of things like the, you know, our health and crystals, and I did a video earlier with some crystals that I have, and I'm working with more and more, and it's on my Instagram, Healing Hearts 32. If you'd like to look at that description, I tell the meanings. Those are here assisting us too: rose quartz, bloodstone, garnet, and lapis. I always do that, labradorite. I put the meanings there. And I'm going to go ahead and light the sage. But what was I saying about the beautiful astrology? Oh no, let's see. Sage to clear the energy. And I mean, astrology is just truly a medicine, you know, because it's so much truth that we can flow to and with. And everything else is beautiful to go with it, but when we get to, you know, clouded and like, oh yeah, that's what people leave out, kind of like the God energy, or like they just get on creative mode, like thinking they can manifest everything. But there is a fate to it, you know, your soul, like, there are angels and higher realms and our higher selves and things. And so anyway, that's why I personally, as a 12th house sun, love the astrology, because it does bring in the light of God, though religions will argue that it's, you know, devil shit and all this weird shit. It's like, oh, okay, like, the sun's the devil? Interesting. Like, but the Bible says, like, what the fuck does your soul say? Sorry. And I don't mean to talk shit. I mean, I do mean to, intentionally. It's just like, it causes us to not open up our heart. It causes us to like take longer to open up to truth. All this religious stuff that we've boxed like the divine in. But those who are meant to wake up will, right? Okay, so the ones that came out, and then I'm just gonna pull 3 cards, were Volcano. So we got the teacup of, let's not be in a small mind of sleeping too much and being robotic, right? But let's rest when we need to. Let's be soft and not only ease into when we're working with the light within, but easing into the heart space of the present moment. And I feel so fucking blessed, dude. So blessed. So blessed. Like, I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm excited. This filling in that heart space is so beautiful. It's so healing. It is literally so healing. But we got the volcano. Okay, so we're going with easing into the energy around us and carrying love with us, right? And also, though, trying to stay conscious to where, like, okay, I know I can carry the love with me, but where do I truly want to be? And am I working towards connecting to that energy within myself? Like, do I have a plan? Like, all of this conscious stuff that will help us to not lower, not just our standards, but the divinity of our path, you know? Is my interpretation of local, like, what I want to say, verbalizing this shit. So the volcano, ironically enough, is patience, repression, though, and lust. It would make sense for this like time, of Mars, and we don't want to repress our sexual energy and our ambition to move towards things. And we definitely want to be as patient as others have been with us, and patient with ourselves. But we don't want to repress feelings, because then they may explode, especially when dealing with Mars. In the wrong way, we want it to explode in a beautiful sexual way, right? Or a beautiful creative way, but not in an angry way. So an inspiring way. And okay, so we want to ease into our patience, and we want to go away from lusting. I mean, these Mars energies, like, if you know who your divine partner is and you're in a sacred union, you can lust all day, or if you know your heart's truth, right? And I'm not telling you to just subscribe to lust, but it's not actually lust, because that is like the union of you, right? And it's yourself. It's literally yourself. At the same time that it's not. It's very interesting. So we're going to ease into patience. And we've got the Snell card. And let's see. So the Snell, I like how, like, they're just so simple. Taking your time, the sacred, fragility. And that is that, what Aries can be faulted for is rushing, though it's a strong point. It's the warrior. And it has the courage, and courage is super important to get to the jewels. To stand up for whatever it is we find sacred. And taking the time, though, and being patient is something that I've been blessed with from my divine masculine and my teacher and guide. And it's beautiful, that energy. It is not that of Aries. It is that of Taurus, who takes its time. And so the Snell takes its time. I like that it actually says the sacred. And it's beautiful. And I want to pause there. And I'm going to plug my phone up, but I want to pause so we can take a moment for our heart space. Excuse the background. And let's take a moment to sink into our heart, and to think about, I say 3, as the time's on 33. Think about, and we're on the 3rd card. I like how we brought Aries into it with the moon, and then Taurus, who is patient and takes its time, and it's the sensual ease, receiving the moment. And then 3 is Gemini, which is these twin signs. Let's take a moment to sink into that heart space. And sometimes I honestly can't do it with a straight back, and I have to kind of fold in. So whatever lets you sink into your heart space. You want to put the awareness of your eyes to the middle of your brow. Allow yourself to feel that heart space. Breathing into the nose and out through the mouth. think of as you connect to your heart center, your divine masculine and feminine balance, your divine sacred union, your beautiful, beautiful divinity, your soul. Controlling the thoughts with the breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's ease into what is it that this union mirrors to you that you can love yourself for, as this new moon is about ourselves. Is it delivering truth without shame? Is it the natural sacredness? The second card was what was it? The volcano. So it was ease and patience. And as we take a moment, what patience has been given to you? And how can you embody patience with yourself and your other half? And when you take these inhales and exhales, you'll want to send the energy through the crown and back down. It's already been 5 minutes. I swear you get into this love space and it's amazing. So then we have the Snell, which was sacred. And wait, did I fuck up? Did I fuck up? Taking your time and patience. So cool. So just take a few moments to, depending on yourself, receive the light and love of yourself, of your divine masculine and feminine, of the balance, the partnership, the kiss, the touch, the beautiful reality of it. Because you see, we're in Aries, so as we're taking action towards ourselves, towards these unions, next month is Taurus, where things come into the practical for enjoyment. And on this new moon, we embody patience. Definitely a challenge for Aries new moon. Patience to ourselves. To learning how to show up in this way within for our partner, for ourselves. Breathing in with the heart. This mind, body, soul connections require breath, an open heart. And it's very different than doing anything outwardly. There's such an ease into it. It's the sensual energy. It's the Taurus and the Scorpio in my experience. Because it's inward, so it's vulnerable and it's so deeply intimate. It's transformational. But it's that Venusian aspect of Taurus, the enjoyment, the softer. And then knowing it's okay because it is so much love between you two. Traveled from lifetime after lifetime for these sacred times. And Divine Spirit, I bless my sacred union and that of all in the collective, and that these beautiful sacred unions embody patience, sacredness, and ease. And that we remember that we are also falling in love with ourselves to show up fully for the work, the destiny, and for what our partner and ourselves deserve. Breathing in through the nose, sending it up through from the heart, the throat. We speak our truth. The eye. We are divinely guided. We see. We are connected to our guides and to oneness. And breathing it back down into the heart. Balancing what we need to. Seeing ourselves and loving the light within. Receiving our new self. Receiving what is sacred. Knowing we are enough. Shit gets interesting, dude. Okay. Back to the reading. So then we get Shirley Jackson family. And kudos to the artist, Katie Horan, and the author is Tasia Kitaskaye, the literary witch's oracle. So let's see, Miss Shirley Jackson representing family. Domestic pleasures. Ooh, domestic horrors. Fucking light and dark, right? Partnerships and children. And I would like to bring to the awareness like that we can transform and move through these beautiful light relationships, right? These beautiful light relationships magnifying such beauty of the light, maybe the more masculine person, or really it's just a fold of both. And the dark not any longer being a shadow, because we're out of that, way out of it, right? But allowing it to rebirth into that magnitude of light that these connections can hold for divine work and for the love and all the other things, and for ascension and whatever else, right? For the healing hearts. What was I going to say? But that the darker element to it is the intimacy and the. If you know astrology, Pluto is the darkness, the pain, but it's the rebirth and transformation, and it is intimacy. You can't have such intensity without intimacy. And so knowing that, yes, it can be a magnitude of light, and it can be very intense and very addicting, these light and love relationships, but not holding on so intensely that we cause pain to ourselves and our sacred partnerships, but to allow the shadow to be the intimacy. That we have not known this in our lives until now, that we can connect heart to heart with a divine person that becomes our everything and is already in, and is in a very sacred way as they become more and more in their truth. And so Shirley Jackson, so representing family, domestic pleasures, and domestic horrors, partnerships, and children. So let's, continue to change these times and be conscious and aware of what we're putting out there in our frequency and with our words and with our thoughts. So a little bit about this card. The fiction of Shirley Jackson, who lives in 1916 to 65, marries the ordinary with the supernatural and often speaks to the inhumanities people endure. Her most famous story on the subject, The Lottery, was written after rural Vermont residents painted a swastika on her house. So this was, she was born in 16, so say this was like in the 30s. Her husband, a professor at Bennington College, was Jewish. Yet keen observation and a sense of humor pervade many of her works, especially her very funny essays on raising 4 kids. So Shirley Jackson, if you wanted to know more about her. And sacred family, right? These unions are family unions, soul family. And then we've got, perfect for this new moon, these are the cards that fell out, Angela Carter, identity. Because yes, Aries is the ego and it is the self, it is courage, and it is forming an identity as the first sign in astrology and the first house of like your natal chart. It is, who am I? We have to choose an identity, and in this awakening process, we're leaving behind these false identities and really coming into the truth of our soul's identity, and which is true for the sun being in, the sun is the soul being in Aries. Let me take my hair down, it looks so messy. It was like wet and kind of beach wavy, but not beach wavy. I can't wait till the day, so that's why I'm manifesting. Somebody will do my hair and makeup. Just watch. Just watch. It's like, yeah, you will. No. I could. We get in such like patterns of not learning new things, and I don't really want to take time to learn how to put on makeup. I need to take time to do other shit, like organize my astrology stuff. And people are already so good about it. So I want to read the identity card, which is Angela Carter. And ooh, do I have to go to the banyo? Come on, Angela. Angela Carter, where are you? Angela Carter, identity. Makes perfect sense. So it's investigating identity, roles, definitely these roles with relationships, women and men, changing more and more, right? That's why we're given this beautiful thing to balance our divine masculine, divine feminine. If you were to really like, you know, look at yourself and your soul of what you deserve, not after all this shit you've endured, but what you deserve, or what your partner deserves, or what you want to commit to for life, right? That's the identity we want to continuously define and choose. And it is Aries, and we only have, let's see, so today's the 11th, so we've got about like 10 more days of Aries where we can really define. And I like that it's happening on this new moon where we can build up with it and define, like, okay, well, I've got to pick something, though I've known it, I keep avoiding it because of all the shit I've had to clear or whatever, so forming an identity, choosing a new identity this new spring of 2021. And it's very karmic and it's very fated and it's very much in tune with your spiritual life, whatever that may be, and whatever you decide it is, too, right? But choose the most sacred. Choose the most sacred truths, right? So, investigating identity roles, and that's roles of parent and child. Like, these children are going through crazy times with the agenda to close the soul even more, to, close the prana and all this weird shit and program and all these things. And that's my beliefs you don't have to take on. And so, but just as species who are meant to evolve, and I do offer a parent child relationship reading. If you're on Facebook, wherever, I'm on Facebook, Divinely Genuine, or Instagram, Healing Hearts. But the role between parent and child, like children thrive just like we do with community, with trusted alliances, with those that we can trust. So who do we trust? Is it soul connected trust? Is it we just like the same tunes, like whatever it is. But children thrive when they have that village, when it's not just one person being authoritative over them at home, two parents doing it, and then at school. Like, so be gentle with your children, allow them to be kids, and I would love to offer some guidance with that if you're in need. And I like to use the astrology or natal charts to look at how you communicate, how the child communicates, and things like that, so you can work with them. And it's up to you to utilize that information, but it is available. But so it's not just the roles of, and it's the roles that we identify with if we bring it back to ourself, right? The roles we identify with, so bored with my hair. The roles we identify with that we have, like, for example, I'm like 39 years old. I don't care what the fuck they say. I feel young, so that's great. Though I need to, like, whatever. I don't need to do anything. And so I've lived, like, a lot of life where I've, like, taken on these roles. And so more and more, let's just scrape away, get away, and define. We have to define the path, the most sacred path that's been shown to us, and decide on it. Decide on who are you, this new life in this new crazy fucking world, right, of awakening, remembering who you are. You've been shown by your guides, your soul has known, and deciding, okay, so this is what I know, this is what I do, and I'm committing to this identity, that it takes it, or else we're just Southern California, there's a lot of homeless people. You know, they've got, pardon me, they've gotten lost in the Pisces vibe of the spiritual walk, you know, that does rule mental health and illusion and surrender. We surrender too much. We've surrendered our courage, which is us choosing the self. Aries rules the face of who are we, you know. You do matter. Your soul did come to sign up for something, and the agenda has been to cover that, to suppress that, and so, you know, thank the goddess and the god within that we're awakened to that. And one of my ultimate package, which is listed, I believe, on my Divinely Genuine page, but I'll spend some time, you know, putting the services there. Offers human design, gene keys, and your astrology, as well as like some Reiki and things like that. It's only like $323 for like a package deal. I bring it up because in my own awareness of my path, being a projector, it's really, and knowing my defined centers and open centers, it's been really interesting in seeing how, what layers we can take on, you know. So to really get to know yourself in these more energetic and divine ways, and not to get lost there mentally like I feel I did, like, but this and this and this, and trying to figure it out. Mental people can do that, right? Not mental crazy, but you know, that too. No. We know it's crazy. It's doing the same thing all the time and expecting different results. Or just doing the same robotic shit. So, yes. Identity. I love it. And then we got the toad, which I love. You know, like I had a friend that I met that I'm hoping will be my next. No. God, that's mean. You know, that's what I love about like being in Southern California, you know, where you have groups gathering for yoga and things like this. Like you can meet new people. And I was really like, dude, you got to get out of suburbia Houston. This is not where you can just meet a lot more like-minded people. I love Southern California. Though it is hard, it's hard to come back to connecting after, when you can connect to everyone. It's very interesting to fucking navigate everything. But because we have to reserve and have the boundaries for our energy, and where we really truly do want to give the energy, like the inner world with the divine connections that have possibly been so beautifully patient with us, versus like spreading yourself short to, you know, giving your energy to all these different people, and then when the person spirit wants you to bless shows up, you're like, well, fuck, I'm so fucking tired, you know. But anyway, so the toad, I'll see what it means, but I love it for, one, the princess story, because my north node, south node of the dragon has definitely been a princess story. And I won't deny it because it's beautiful and romantic in a way, though of course a part of me is like, it's fucking bullshit. Like, you know, like, God, I'm so sorry that you had to fucking like literally save my soul. And then it's like, but you saved my soul in such a beautiful way of stars and love and passion. And then, you know, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It brings you to like programming and Disney, but I think it's important to really treasure the romance and the beautiful. I mean, my north node is in Leo, you know, so I get to choose that love, truth, and romance and things like that. And what more, like, can you ask for than sacred unions too? It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful that it becomes very fantasy like, you know, sometimes, because it's just like a too good to be true type thing when we're not used to it, right? Or like we've experienced something where we've kept ourselves there so committed for these relationships, for our children, for our spouse, for our job, for whatever that we're committed to, that's not even catering to our happiness. And then when the truth comes in the most beautiful, romantic, loving, divine ways, we almost cannot receive them. Almost, right? But our souls are doing it on all different levels. And it's not, and it's just a whole new way of fucking knowing life. That's what's really trippy. Like, do I try to receive? Do I not try to receive? Can I just go back to being me where it would have flowed perfectly on its own? For real. Like, ooh. It's interesting to be co-creative and conscious. Like, it's, I feel it puts more pressure. Like, But we've got to pull that ego back and know, like, oh, that's what I was saying earlier, that astrology leaves the light of God in versus a lot of consciousness, I believe, and I love that. Anyway, the friend I was referring to just got, not Bufo, Bufo Combo, which is a spirit, something from the frog that is healing, like as a plant medicine, though it's not. So it's interesting, but let's see. Or maybe it's not interesting, I just kind of say that now. Let's see where the toad is in this beautiful thing right here. Right here. Humor. Very Gemini-like. Very, very Gemini. And humor, the grotesque, and joy. So there's always that duplicity I notice with these readings, right? So, you know, I found myself in weird, like, everyone's different, you know, some people, like, feel more than others, for sure. And, you know, I'll be like, gross, you know, like, or I'll imagine, like, my divine lover, sacred union, like, in partnership with an ex or someone he slept with or someone I've slept with in the past, and I'll just be like right now I don't feel that because I feel my heart more right now, but in moments I'll just be like, ew, or like gross, because once you like experience the truth of your heart, oh my god, it gets you so much out of the masculine energy that I love feeling like the tingles. I love feeling his presence. I'm the luckiest woman in the world. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm just kidding, we all are. I feel like I'm the luckiest woman in the world. Coming from someone who let go of job, home, car, no savings, and have gained like the most beautiful things. I'm so grateful. I love my soul. I'm so grateful for my spiritual path. Keep your heart open to spiritual changes. Oh, so humor, the grotesque, and joy. So obviously we want to stay in joy and humor. And it is the time. You know, sometimes we just need to feel supported. I've been doing like couch surfing and not having a consistent home. It's fucking like taking away a lot from my spiritual path. But I've been okay with navigating it and couch surfing and things like that for a bit because I didn't want to give my soul away to a job I didn't like, you know, and I was confused and just trying to tune in more and make doing it worth it, right? I love feeling the tingles in our bodies. I'm so blessed. We are so blessed. Okay, so let's see if I can remember before we flip those three. So we're easing into the inner world, easing into the love in the moment to carry it with us. Like, I'll have to take times, everyone is different, where I sit and fill into the heart instead of carry that heart with me, because I'll be like walking down by the beach, and I'm walking too fast and I can't feel unconnected. And when dealing with expressing this inner love and balancing and receiving our feminine, it is a receiving. It's a softer vibe. Okay, so we want to ease into it. We want to, what was volcano? Man, it's like we learn so much and then trying to remember it. Not repression. Of course, my mind's like, oh, the negative. Dang. Patience. God, how can I forget that one, man? I've been given so much patience. So ease, patience, and looking at your Chiron can help you know what to heal. The Snell. So ease, being patient, right? So we're discovering a new identity with all these times, you know, and with this new moon, and we're choosing it. Have the courage to choose an identity. Don't get lost. Don't be lost in anything other than what is true and truth, right? And but so choose your truth. Choose your identity. And ease into your moments of presence, which bring us back to the heart. Because the truth is that divine partner is connected on different time, not being linear, you know, like he can just come to me like he did a while ago and send those tingles, right? And as we get into our heart more, it's just like fucking phenomenal. And so no, there's nowhere to go but to ease into the present moment, to observe, to feel, and to create, right? But have that self-identity this new moon. And then as it builds up, the waning moon, and as we go into Taurus season, all this, we're linking more with the astrology too. And this is very basic astrology. I recommend, of course, the wonderful, amazing Laleo King on High Vibe TV. And Christopher Witecki I love, but resonating. So we're going to ease into our energy inward and outward. We're going to ease into the self-identity we choose, right? Ease into it. Don't pressure yourself with all this Aries and Mars. And not erupting, but we're going to be patient with our process and ourselves. And, you know, whatever blocks you may have, your natal chart will show that, you know. Blocks in expressing our creativity because we're used to using our sexual energy for sex, right? Or giving it to a job, you know. And patiently enjoying our life, defining ourselves. And the Snell says that to move slowly, right? Surely it says that, towards what's sacred. I remember the Snell did mean what's sacred. Taking your time. It does also say fragility, you know, so I like that for caring for our soul. It's all about the soul, dude. It is all about the soul. So the soul in Aries, the sun and the moon, the soul and the emotions in Aries as a warrior, standing up for what you define as yourself. What are you standing up for, you know? And, you know, I like to, obviously I'm into the truth of astrology, you know, and so I've spoken to people and they're like, well, what do you mean by truth, you know? And the truth you find like within your soul, and you do it by way of, you know, meditation, yoga, the stars, the stars is like knowing your soul map and love, you know, sitting with God or source. Your truth is in your heart. What you feel, that's the truth, you know. Yeah. It's cool times. And so as we ease into it and take our time, I'm sorry, it's like I try to freaking remember, but I don't. It's probably like annoying, like, how many times are you gonna fucking repeat it? I'm just trying to fucking be mindful. Oh, it's because they all mean the same thing. It's so cool. So be patient, ease into it, be patient with yourself and your process and this new identity, right? It's a new identity, but it is old. It's what your soul came here to do. You're just kind of, we like every Aries season are defining it. Right now, it's very much a part of fate with the divine unions and balancing our divine masculine and feminine, choosing self-love, choosing twin-like energy, and da-da-da-da-da with the Gemini North Node, right? And it will move into, I'm not sure of the exact dates, but it'll move next year, I believe, into, or maybe the end of this year. High Vibe TV, though, awesome astrologer. And my heart loves and trusts him, and I trust like who he loves and trusts. It's whatever resonates. He would know, but it goes into Taurus and Scorpio. And so that's going to be interesting with all of the magic and hidden things then being in the South Node, you know? So then it's like we're really bringing the light and having to balance that North Node, South Node, and Taurus is giving. They're giving and they're enjoying the moments. And as someone who has a shit ton of Venus and have overstayed in the South Node, I'm going to be very mindful of that, you know. But, and there's nothing to worry about with the nodes as long as you're balancing them and progressively going towards the north, which will, we're in Gemini right now, but which will go to Taurus, where we're giving and we're enjoying the present moment, and we're not getting lost in darkness, Scorpio, or that we can, you know, and I don't wish this upon any spiritual communities, but this is where I love astrology as the ultimate medicine and awareness, because we don't want to think that we can magic our way out of it or manifest our way out of it without utilizing the divine, which is seen in the stars, you know. Yeah, I love it. I'm feeling so clear with understanding, you know. It's a process, as they say. And just feeling supported, you know, being in a stable place with a, you know, the company of a friend, and, you know, I'm so ready to get back into a normal place of living, but not doing it in a way where I'm sacrificing my precious, like, time or energy to something that I don't want to do. That's for sure. So we'll see. And then, of course, we did get the family card and the identity card. And the toad was after that, right? And so I'm just reiterating that we're shooting for domestic pleasures. And, you know, these past 2 years that I lived in my van and then was couch surfing, like, I came to thank God for my divine partner who knows his shit, and my own soul, and the divinity, and the love of all of it. But what was I gonna say is, I came to my true home, you know? They say the body is the temple. We say that all day, but it is so truly, amazingly true. And so we want to make sure that we're creating domestic pleasures in our body. And it's not to say that fear won't come, it's not to say that doubt won't come, but as we push more into overcoming those lies and getting into the light energy of truth, which really goes back to the inner child and your soul, your sovereign soul of, you know, of your light, that fear and doubt and all of that truly is outside of ourselves, and we can rise above it. And it's not about being positive and not acknowledging the bullshit in the world, like, not at all. That's how we become, like, oh, we're all fucking in a spiritual, like, fun fucking, we're all high, and like the fucking, like, something came on us, and too bad none of us were on our shit, like, you don't want to, like, and I didn't mean to say like spiritual groups are all getting high, but whatever it is, we need to be able to acknowledge the problems of the matrix, of the agenda, of all that shit, and not just, think that, not be ignorant to think that we're going to manifest and create our own reality no matter what. Because I guarantee you, I would have tried to do that with my kids, and I tried. And it delayed, like, some really beautiful things. And I just encourage you to get an astrology reading, and I would love to be the one to serve you in that way. And because it brings you to sacred truth, So I love the family card coming next, as we're patient and taking our time and easing into this, creating our new identity, right, within and without, being gentle on ourselves and choosing domestic pleasures, like whatever comes up in this inner world, and with the connectedness of our soul, being able to be like, excuse my fidgeting, being able to be like, this intensity of the feelings that I had and have at moments. It's intimacy, and it's Pluto. It's intensity, and but it can be so addicting. The feeling of someone engulfing your heart like that it becomes toxic. I mean, toxic is a weird word, but it does, because it becomes like you can't depend on your own heart, or you feel so like you need that intensity, versus like, no, I know this is my soul, and I don't have to worry, and this is my divine partner, and I don't have to cling so tightly. I can transform that into knowing and really embodying the truth that this is one of the most intimate experiences we can individually have together, It's fucking badass times. Badass times! And it's interesting because it's such a time of like fun and light and whatever, and then when you're first experiencing these interconnections, like, damn, it's so beautifully intense and loving, and whatever it is for each person, I'm sure different to their path. But the sacredness to it, it does come with a seriousness. Like, it can be fun and laugh and play in there, I guess, but it's so intimate. Intimate is not, Scorpio energy is serious. It's not like, so that will be interesting to see. So that's where these unions, I believe, will really come into fruition when we have the North nodes and Taurus are to fruition in the reality. And so we want to take this time to set ourselves up right, to embody the newness of the identity that we've understood for our spiritual role and spiritual path, and whatever you're at and you're facing, whatever you're bringing new into your path, because there's so many people that have been awakened for a decade, so many parts of us that have been awakened and always known, and we're all choosing these conscious ways of living, right? And I encourage astrology 100%. I don't know if I said that already. So family and identity, and then choosing the toad. And what was the toad again? Let's see. Hi! I'm doing a video on the new moon today. It's all good. It's all good. I'm almost done. You got it? Let's see. My friend Eric here. Amazing, amazing. Amazing Libra. Gotta love the Libras. And he's a generator in human design. Very cool, good-hearted person going through weird shit with like the legal things and children, and I'm grateful to be able to have gotten through that, and I just find it beautiful, you know, we're wanting something, you know, and going towards something ourselves, and God's like, yeah, but this person, it's, you know, you could assist, you know, or whatever. Oh, and staying in humor, you know, so very cool. Oh shit, I forgot that. We're gonna do 3 more cards. So love. Yay! Ooh, ooh. And you know, as I am bridging all the different pieces of these shattered realities, right? Love is all of it and everything, and it's an interesting one to navigate because we have love and then we have these boundaries of like, well, we could place ourselves anywhere, and yes, we should always be kind, you know. And so it's just crazy to have such an intense love at times, right? And then to also like the intense one that brings us to the unconditional love. And then to know that it's all love or whatever. So I think it's just more of the chakras and going all the way through. Man, I gotta go to the restroom. And we've got the bees. Oh, I like how it's 3, right? 3 is pretty cool with communication and as well as partnerships and creating. And you know, don't forget that the divine is part of these partnerships, you know. There doesn't have to be a third person. It's 1, 2, and the divine. And the divine is what makes it sacred. I gotta go to the restroom so fucking bad. Just like, it does that. I'll be like a 4-year-old, like, ah! So bees, togetherness, work, treasures. And then, of course, we got love. And then I was going to draw 1 more. And this was just after we got the white dress. And this was just after I actually finished my prayer. Yeah, a little Virgo sun over here like, yeah, but I wanted to finish. A lot of cards, and I know it took a little while, but it's been a while that I did a video, and I love you for being here and for watching, and I hope that I can bring you some wonderful awareness with astrology. Like shaking. I'll probably do maybe a live on Instagram. It's Healing Hearts 32 of creating something tonight with a beautiful little witchy girl I met. And so the beloved, desire, taking flight, togetherness. What was the B's? Togetherness, work, and treasures. The best treasures, man, are truly within, truly. And then let's see what the white dress is, and I'm gonna end it there because I gotta go to the restroom. Appearances, society, and gender. And I think this definitely has to go with creating that identity and then owning the value. You know, after this new moon, it's gonna be at 22 degrees, I believe, at 7 tonight. The moon will then like go into Taurus where we learn our value. And it's like, you know, for me as an Aquarian moon, and you know, depending on our conditioning and our chart and things like this, like I've had to go back and relearn value, you know, and know that I'd rather, be appealing than not. But we've had all kind of stuff we've had to work through. And So I'm sending you guys lots of heart love. I love you and I appreciate you. And I hope that you guys tune into the phenomenal Leo King. And I think he's doing a wonderful spiritual dance music. And I love that he's able to create like such wonderful, amazing things. And I hope that I can learn to express my love that way as well. And happy new moon to you guys. Peace.